Okay, it's Wizard here, we're back. Previously we've learned how to use a burning solution etcher to burn a Lubuntu.iso file to a USB stick. Now we're going to use that USB stick to boot into a live situation where we can install Lubuntu on our hard disk drive. On your way in to your computer, you get the opportunity to go into your BIOS setup. That may be displayed, what keys to use. Other than that, it will be something like escape or F2 or F10 or F12 or delete. One of those keys, maybe both, two keys, will allow you into your BIOS where you can change the boot sequence so that the computer boots from the USB stick ahead of your hard disk drive. So we have our stick inserted, we've booted the computer, we've placed it in the priority to fire up from the stick that has the Lubuntu.iso on it. On your way into that setup, you may come across a screen or two. One of them might look like this. I always choose try the distro without installing, so try Lubuntu without installing. If you don't get that one, you may get both. This one, I'll blow that up a bit bigger, and it says try Lubuntu or install Lubuntu. So again, we're going to try Lubuntu. Now we're into Lubuntu, and under those situations with live and trying it, you'll always get an icon to install, or else you might also get an entry in your menu. Here it's under System Tools. So we're going to fire that up, and this is our install screen, and we'll take this up, but before we get into there, we're going to tweak power settings, and here I can do it with Preferences, Power Manager. Now I've got it already set up to never on it, but it defaults to something like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You could switch off the power management, but then it says here that if you switch that off, then X11, which is part of our graphical environment, is going to handle any settings, and you don't want to have get yourself locked out with a screensaver or power saver from your install. So I switch everything to never. Let's get into our install and get Lubuntu rolling. We're on English. And the keyboard layout I'm using is English US. Normal installation, I don't want the minimal, I want everything that they've got. Download updates while installing Lubuntu. This saves time after installation. It doesn't for me in Australia, so I always leave that till later. Install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats is a good one to put on. We'll put this on, and that'll take a minute or two, but a pop-up will come up in a moment, and we'll look at that. Excuse me. The pop-up says that I've got partitions in use. This one here, SDC, is the actual USB stick itself. This one here is my Western Digital My Book, and I might want to put Lubuntu on there. I'm not going to, but I might want to, so I don't want that unmounted. So I'm choosing no. And it'll continue to go ahead and put that third-party software on. We'll pause here for a moment while it does that. Okay, that software is installed. I should say that prior to this point, you can see here with the bars, I've already got my internet connection on. But if you had it off, then you would have got to a screen prior to this where Lubuntu identified your Wi-Fi and offered you the opportunity to hook into that and get that running. That's always a good idea, because even if you don't download those updates, there's other information that the Lubuntu install will put onto your computer, and it needs the internet connection to do that properly. It's identified that I've got another system or more on my computer, and I could install alongside them, but I'm not going to. I'm going to erase the disk and install Lubuntu on that drive. That enables these functions here, but we're not going to use them because they're more for experts, and if you don't know what they are, you're not ready to use them. Something else is if you want to do some special partitioning, but we're just going for stock standard erase disk and install Lubuntu. Now it brings up where you're going to be putting your Lubuntu to. In this case, SDA, device SDA is my 2 terabyte internal hard drive, and that's where I want to put this to. Other than that, you change it to alternatives like my Western Digital MyBook or my solid state drive. But we're sticking with SDA, and we're going to install now. It's giving you the opportunity to change your mind if you want to go back, and it's telling me that it's going to put this material into the hard disk drive. Mine is mentioning an ESP, which is an EFI system partition, because I've got UEFI, but the lady I'm helping here won't have that entry. She'll just have the partition that the Lubuntu is going to. You can see this progress indicator here. It's got about 7 dots, and we're up to about point number 5 in that process. That will fill out. We get the opportunity to say where we are so we can get our system time correct. It's picked up that I'm in Australia, but it's not sure where. I'm actually closer to Brisbane in Queensland. Next up, we'll get to fill in our details, and with my name I just put it in lowercase. It defaults to putting your computer's or your name with the computer name. Mine's a Dell Inspiron, but I always identify mine because I'm a multi-booter. Password. These of course must match, and the tick indicates that, and it needs my password to log in. Now it's copying files, and we're into the install part itself. On mine here it's about 20 to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And if you want to see what's actually happening, you can click this side arrow here, and if you've got good eyesight, you can actually see what's getting processed. It's gone through copying the files now, and we'll get into the main install itself. Once this is completed, we'll be ready to try out Lubuntu. I'll put it on pause here because this can take some time. Resuming now, and we're coming into the finish line at a great rate of knots. The install is removing some software that's considered unnecessary by the developers. I'll pause for a moment. And now the installation, as we can see, is complete. And it says you can continue testing Lubuntu now, but until you restart the computer, any changes you make or documents you save will not be preserved. At this point, most of our users will press restart now. I'm going to continue testing because I need to save this video and just do a couple of housekeeping matters. When you press restart now, the installation will be complete. It'll close down, and it will prompt you to remove the installation medium, that is your USB stick, from where it is seated, and then press enter. So you'll do that, and then you'll boot, hopefully successfully, into your new Lubuntu install. But I'm going to have a quick look here. At the GNOME partition editor, and you can see this is where my new Lubuntu install is set up. I'll close that down, and we'll continue testing. I'll say goodbye for now. You've been watching Wizard from Oz. That's down under Australia, and it's beer o'clock. So we'll see you next time around. Enjoy your Linux.